Motivation is not a hack. There's no life hack. There's no alarm clock. There's no app. There's no screensaver. There's no YouTube short that you can watch in order to become motivated for something. You have to want it deeply, deeply, deeply. And that is the only way that you will walk through fire and snow and rain and do everything possible until you have achieved what you desire. If you don't want it, Habibi, nobody in this world can help you. No procrastination book can help you. Nobody on this earth can motivate you. No speech will be able to rile you up if you fundamentally do not want and desire and intend the pleasure of Allah. Sorry, there's nothing that can be done for you. One of the things that keep people motivated for a long period of time is personal experiences. Negative personal, not positive, negative personal experiences. Here, let me ask you another example of apartheid. Who ended apartheid in South Africa? Nelson Mandela. You guys should know this. This is important history. Okay, Nelson Mandela, did he just wake up, make a TikTok video, and then he became the Prime Minister of... Does anybody know how many years he was imprisoned for? You can check ChatGPT. 25 years? 27 years roughly. He was imprisoned for 27 years. Was it a normal imprisonment? Solitary confinement for 27 years. Why? What did he do wrong? He just said blacks and whites should have equal rights. There shouldn't be a bench that says whites only. There shouldn't be a bus that says whites only. Just to speak up for that, he was in solitary confinement for 27 years. When he came out, did he retire? He had doubled the motivation. This is the motivation that we need. We're not looking for motivation that ends day after tomorrow. We want the motivation that becomes a burning fire that never leaves you. How do you find that fire? One of the important parts of motivation is to tap into your own personal life, your own personal experiences. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves you clues in your life. Things happen in your life. When you look back, you say, this is the day that I realized this happened to me. I saw this happen, therefore I will never let it happen again. You'll be a man or a woman on a mission. Why? Because it happened to you personally. Personal things happen to you. And this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pushing you in a particular direction, giving you a permanent fire. Not a motivation that lasts for 2 days. You can only fake motivation and manufacture motivation for so long. At some point it disappears. You can only put oil on the fire so many times before it disappears. But the deep motivations are intrinsic. They are not dependent on outside people and company and environment. And the deep motivation comes from within yourself, within your past, within your love of Allah, within what you want to see in the hereafter. Some people, they feel, I'm not motivated to do anything. I really just want to, every day I wake up and I just want to continue like a zombie autopilot. I don't have any motivation. For such people, you have to realize that you have to do this activity. The activity is called the deathbed activity. What's the deathbed activity? Take a piece of paper, blank piece of paper. You sit down. You imagine the day that you are on your deathbed. Yeah? Imagine the day you are on your deathbed. And you're going to write a letter to your children to tell them what you left behind for them, what legacy you left behind on this earth. You're on your deathbed, you're about to meet Allah. On a piece of paper, you have to write down, what am I going to meet Him with? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks you the question, you were alive, I gave you years, I gave you money, I gave you time, I gave you health. What did you do? What answer will you prepare for Allah? You have to write it down on the paper. You have to do this activity. This paper, you have to tape to the wall from the next day. Because every time you see this paper, you will realize this is what gives you the motivation that I have to prepare this answer for Allah. When Musa alayhi salam comes and Allah gives him the message, He gives him the mission, first Allah introduces Himself again. Inni ana Allahul Azizul Hakim. Innani ana Allah. La ilaha illa ana fa'budni wa aqimis salata li dhikri. Now, I am Allah. This is your first motivation. I am Allah. That's who you're working for, Habibi. Great. Second motivation. إن الساعة آتية أكاد أخفيها لتجزى كل نفس بما تسعى. The hour is coming. Everything you do from today, Musa, is just preparation for this hour. If you are not constantly remembering and recollecting the hour that is to come, why would you have motivation to do anything? Motivation, it comes from this place. A deep place inside your soul where you received some injury, some injustice, some difficulty in your life, and through that Allah wanted you to use you to serve Him. You think if Musa alayhi salam didn't grow up inside the palace and witnessed his brothers being slaughtered, do you think he would have that motivation to face Fir'aun? You see the Prophet ﷺ, if he didn't witness people going around the Kaaba naked and 365 idols in the Kaaba, do you think he would have the motivation? The motivation to go and 23 years and the sabr, the patience, the struggle. Motivation by nature, it ebbs and it flows. It goes up and down. We said the first motivation, the first source of motivation is to tap into your personal life, and you ask yourself, what happened in my life that I can tap into this feeling, this sadness, this anger, this rage, this injustice, and I need to use this to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day of my life. The kind of motivation that kept Nelson Mandela going after 27 years in Robben Island. The kind of motivation that kept Musa alayhi salam going after murdering somebody by mistake. The next day he's back at work. No break, no sick leave, no mental health day, no anxiety leave. Back at work the next day, no stress leave. He's back again. This fire of motivation is what kept the prophets going. If you ever tie your ambitions and motivations to something temporary, you will always become deflated. Pop, your balloon will be popped. And this is why the people who struggle the most with motivation are people who are not sincere. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not make you and I from those people. When Allah talks about people who lack motivation in the Quran, He talks about the munafiqun. When they get up for salah, وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالَى يُرَاءُونَ النَّاسَ وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. When they get up for salah, you see them lazy, they don't have the motivation to get through the salah. And the reason is, that fundamentally they are not interested in the pleasure of Allah, and they're only doing it to put up an appearance to other people. وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. And very little do they remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is another of the greatest sources of motivation. If not, I can say the greatest source of motivation. You know, people who are disbelievers, when they need motivation, what do? They go on YouTube, they search motivational speech, and they find somebody screaming in their ear, "Get back up when you fall down," or something like that. They look for some motivational speech, someone screaming at them to get their life in order. But the believer, when a believer wants motivation, all they need to do is sit by themselves and say, "Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghith." Oh Allah, the ever-living, the one who keeps everything in order, please, I ask you your mercy. All it takes is to sit by yourself for 1 minute and say, "Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum." Or when the Prophet ﷺ would find his motivation dip, he would say, "Allahumma la aisha illa aishul akhirah." Oh Allah, there's no life like the afterlife. These words are heavy words. Many of us, we don't give them enough time of day, but this is what Allah criticizes the munafiqun. He says they have no motivation to pray salah. And when they pray, they're constantly trying to please people. And this is the Achilles heel of motivation. The greatest reason for lack of motivation is not what Simon Sinek tells you and not what all of the great leaders of management and psychology tell you. The greatest reason for lack of motivation is a lack of sincerity fundamentally. If you wanted it hard enough, you'd do it. If you wanted it hard enough, you'd do it. And this is the fact when we look at our own lives and we make excuses for things that we don't feel like doing. There's a number of things we do every day, regardless of motivation or no motivation. And often it's because when you want something hard enough, you'll do it. And so really, the question that Ibn Qayyim asks is that you have to ask yourself, how badly do I want what is with Allah? How badly do I want the pleasure of Allah? Or am I just keeping up appearances? One of the greatest sicknesses that we will fight till the Day of Judgment is the sickness of wanting to please people and wanting to put up a mask and appearance for the pleasure of people. And you ask yourself the question, where will I find this ikhlas? This is a very difficult subject. It's a very difficult subject to talk about. Where did the prophets and the messengers and the Sahaba, where did they draw the spiritual strength to have the level of sincerity that egged them on again and again, night after night, day after day, setback after setback, setback after setback? And the sir, the secret of the ikhlas and the strength of sincerity of these messengers is one thing. It is the secret worship that nobody ever saw. فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. Oh Muhammad, when you've done all your dishes, you've done all the not dishes, you've done all the deeds, don't worry, only we do the dishes. When you've done all the deeds and done all the headache and you had all the sweat, come and اقترب, come close to me. يَا أَيُّهَا الْمُزَّمِّلُ قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. O you who is wrapped up, pray at night except a little. This is the fuel, this secret worship that nobody could see. This was actually a very silent conversation between the prophets and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this was the fuel that would keep them going. Their deeds was never a performance. Their deeds, every deed they did, it was a message sent to Allah. Oh Allah, I have nothing, but this is the deed I am doing. I am asking your help. The level of humility and the level of brokenness that Musa alayhi salam shows to Allah every stage of his journey, when he comes to Madian and he says, قَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي لِمَا أَنزَلْتَ إِلَيَّ مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَقِيرٌ. Oh Allah, I am in need of anything that you can give me. In Surah Al-Qasas, you will find 5 du'as of Musa alayhi salam, secret whispers that he said to Allah when nobody was looking, and this kept the fire and the sincerity going. Is that every time they made a step forward in their life, they would take a step back, they would disappear into the darkness, and they would make a silent conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Musa alayhi salam goes and he helps the 2 women, when he reaches Madian, ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى إِلَى الظِّلِّ. He goes and he hides in the shade. Why is he hiding in the shade? He's withdrawing from people so he can have a secret conversation with Allah. The reason that most of us are stuck in a world of performance, a world of people pleasing, is because we haven't had enough secret conversations with Allah that we have stepped back and said, oh Allah, nobody can hear this except you and me. This, oh Allah, I did for your sake. And with the frequency that you have that conversation, and the frequency and intensity which you have your private worship, your ikhlas, your sincerity increases and strengthens until you are willing and ready to bear any burden from the burdens of this world, if it means that on the Day of Judgment you can stand in front of your Maker. Because that relationship with Allah has strengthened and intensified to the extent that you are willing to take absolutely anything in His path. Motivation is not a hack. There's no life hack. There's no alarm clock. There's no app. There's no screensaver. There's no YouTube short that you can watch in order to become motivated for something. You have to want it deeply, deeply, deeply. And that is the only way that you will walk through fire and snow and rain and do everything possible until you have achieved what you desire. If you don't want it, Habibi, nobody in this world can help you. No procrastination book can help you. Nobody on this earth can motivate you. No speech will be able to rile you up if you fundamentally do not want and desire and intend the pleasure of Allah. Sorry, there's nothing that can be done for you. That is something you have to sit with yourself and ask yourself, what do I really want? That piece of paper that you have to write, what do I want to see on my deathbed? These are the things which then drive you and drive you and drive you.